We just successfully built a trigger.dev workflow without even being inside of a workflow builder or anything. Claude did it all. But let's say we want to deploy this, right? Right now it's running from our computer. It's doing all of this from our computer. We can then write, let's deploy this to production on trigger.dev. Thank you. The way that trigger.dev works in the cloud is that you have these projects right here, and inside of here you have different environments. Like right now I'm in development, but we want to be on production. So now you can see Claude is deploying this, it's pushing it into the trigger.dev cloud. What we have to do is just set the environmental values. We do that by going into environmental values right here, and then clicking add new, then making sure that we have it on production right here. A quick tip is that you can go inside of an environmental value, copy this, then you can go back and paste all of this in. We're just going to show all of the environmental values the right way. We can click save, and there we go. All of the environmental values has now been added. And there we go. Claude has now pushed our task. You can see our task inside of here now. Send invoice has now been added. We don't have any activity yet because we just pushed it to production, but we can run it again if we want. So let's test it. Before we test it, we need to take the API key from inside of production because that's going to be a different secret key. And we need to go in and fill out this new information. So the trigger secret key, change that to prod. Same with the project reference right here. That's actually the same, so we don't need to do anything there. Let's test it now by running npm run dev. I'm going to write, let's test it in localhost 3000 first. Form. I changed the environmental values. Let's try and test it now. So I'm going to write Albert testing 2. I'm going to send it to my own email once again. I'm going to call it build my agent 2. And address we don't want. I'm just going to call it testing for, let's say, 1500. USD, blah, blah, blah. All of this we don't need. Generate and send. Now you can see it says sending. Queued run. If you now go into trigger.dev and to our task, you can now see one run was just queued right here. We can also see run is now being executed. That's one of the good things about trigger.dev as well, is that all of this dashboard right here, where it's executing all of the runs, we have a very clean dashboard where we can see what's going on. And now we can see right here, the run succeeded in 13 seconds. If we go to our invoice and give it a refresh, we now have a new invoice with this new information. And our invoice generator is now deployed in the cloud. So that is the backend, right? The backend is now deployed on trigger.dev. If we wanted to deploy the front end as well, we can also do that. We head to the cell, and then we write, great, let's push the front end to the cell. First, GitHub though. We're going to go to GitHub, and just like we did before, we're going to create a new repo. I'm going to call it invoice frontend. We can choose an owner. We're going to choose ourselves. We can click private, and then we can create the repository just like this. Paste this into Claude, hit enter, and now it's going to push our front end. Our front end is this page right here, right? The invoice generator. It's going to push that so we have it online. The crazy thing about this is that you don't have to remember, okay, how exactly did Albert do this? You just have to remember you can use Composio for authentication, trigger.dev for the actual automation. When you tell that to Claude, Claude can figure out the rest. There we go. It is now pushed. We can now, just like we did before, go to the cell, click add new project, paste this in, click deploy, choose next, and just click deploy again. And that will deploy our project to the web. There we go. It is now deployed. We can click continue to dashboard, click on the domain right here, and now you can see the invoice generator is live on the web. The last thing we need to do is just set the environmental values. You do that by going in environmental variables right here, click add environmental variables, and just take the same one that we used before, paste that into the cell like this, click save. You're going to have to redeploy, and now the invoice generator is live on the web.